I have a hot take. I liked Superman. Yeah, I know, not the hottest of takes, but apparently a big group of people aren't too happy about Mr. Jamothy Gunmantha's take on the big blue symbol of hope. Now, when I go into a superhero movie, I tend to look for only two things. One, is the action good? Is it fun to watch this movie? Can I go back and take out a fight scene and watch that on its own and be impressed? Listen, man, I've been spoiled by anime, so this is really important to me. Not everything needs to be Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, but damn, does it make the movie better when it's close. And two, are the characters good? I'm all about character. If I don't connect with who I'm watching on screen, then I'm gonna be bored. I can't connect with any of the characters in Suicide Squad. They all suck. They're terrible people, and none of their character motivations make any sense. They don't react to situations like normal people would react to situations, and that's not even counting the absolute travesty that is Harley Quinn. I do connect with almost all of the characters in the Suicide Squad. Their motivations are great, they react to situations in ways that make sense. I love it, including the absolute character ascension that is Harley Quinn. Chef's kiss, Mr. Gunther. Now, if you can provide me those two things, I'm sold on a superhero movie. I don't need a great plot, truly. I love comic books. This includes the weird shit, the convoluted shit. I mean, give me a million MacGuffins. I do not care. I don't need the Citizen Kane of superhero movies. Just give me buff boys punching each other and I'll leave happy. This does, however, change with a Superman movie. I need one more thing from a Superman movie, something so essential to the character that without it, you end up with, well, the Snyderverse. I need hope. Superman's whole thing is hope. I want cheesy. I want sappy. I want a hope-filled Superman who can change the world just by showing up. This is apparently not what a bunch of incels online want, though. So Ranting for Vengeance is one of those ragebait media review channels that I found here on YouTube. You see them all the time, these guys that look into the camera and yell about how the woke mind virus is ruining cinema. You can't have female leads, that's too woke. Black people? In my Marvel movie? Absolutely not. This guy's been posting for 9 months, and in the last month alone, he's made 8 videos about James Gunn's Superman movie. 9, if you count this time where he talks about Superman in a video about Pedro Pascal. 9 videos in 1 month. As of the time of this recording, the movie has been out for 3 days. Now, does this man provide biting commentary about the movie? Does he have some insights into Superman as a character that we all desperately need? Is he somehow going to, with his review, shake up the way we see superhero movies and push us forward as a society into intellectual enlightenment? Obviously not. He's going to yell for 12 minutes about lesbians and how Superman is a soy boy cuck. So I think the easiest way to do this is to just watch this guy's review. And I'm going to prepare you because he says some truly unhinged things. I just can't believe that this is the state of media review in 2025. So let's yeah.
James Gunn's Superman is the worst fucking movie that's ever been made.
Okay, well, objectively, that's not true. I mean, we have Disaster Movie. Disaster Movie exists, guys. But no, James Gunn's superhero movie is the worst. So this movie is going to make $1 billion, by the way. This is going to be one of the biggest movies of the year. But, you know, it's the worst movie ever made. Why does he think it's the worst movie ever made? I don't know. Probably because there's women in it. Probably because there's people that are not white in the movie. Let's.
I stay true to what I said. While it's closed, I'm not giving money to James Gunn, the freak, or DC.
So one of the things he's going to do to discredit the movie is he's going to consistently bring up James Gunn's past. Now, James Gunn has a lot of controversy regarding some incidents in his past. I'm not really going to talk about that because I'm sort of talking about just the movie here. The reason he's bringing this up is because he doesn't have an actual point. So because he doesn't have a point to make, ranting for vengeance is going to bring up, well, James Gunn does this and he did this in his past. It's smoke and mirrors so that he doesn't have to make a specific point about the movie. You're going to notice in watching this that he just tends to use a lot of buzzwords. Just get ready. It's amazing. It's the greatest thing we've ever seen.
But I did watch Superman fully somehow, and I don't know how they did it, but James Gunn has managed to make the worst superhero movie ever made.
Again, we sort of just know this is rage bait, right? Like, the worst superhero movie ever? Justice League exists, okay? Catwoman exists. Daredevil exists. The only reason you're saying this is the worst movie ever is because you want to rage bait people into commenting on your page, which, I guess that worked because here I am, but I just hyperbole is so dumb in media review. Like, we don't need to say Superman is the greatest movie we've ever seen. Like, I saw it. I would rate it like a solid 7.5 out of 10. Like, it was a good movie. It was just like a solidly good movie. But to go, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. It's because you are rage baiting, man. You're just mad that this movie wasn't made for you. In fact, I wouldn't even say that because this movie was sort of made for everybody. So I don't know what your actual issue is.
Before we go any further, just be warned that this is not hyperbole. This is not rage bait.
It is both hyperbole and rage bait. You know it's not the worst movie you've ever seen. You know it's not the worst superhero movie you've ever seen. You're just being an asshole.
This movie is a disgrace to filmmaking.
The only film that I've ever thought was an actual disgrace to filmmaking is movie 43. I think movie 43 is the worst movie of all time. I walked out of that movie. It was that bad. James Gunn's Superman is not that bad. It's actually pretty good. But media literacy is dead.
And if you saw the movie and you agree and you want to help out this channel, maybe consider subscribing or supporting me over on Patreon. So
I do think it's kind of interesting that he's not been able to convert his viewership to subscribers. I think that might say something about rage bait content. What I've noticed is it's typically harder for them to secure an audience that sticks around. Their audience will show up for these videos and then just sort of leave, but that's not really anything about the movie itself.
There's been a lot of reviews from everybody all across the internet, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of these people are just lying because they don't want to destroy the movie. People are saying it isn't woke and it isn't even that bad. Some people are saying it's a 10 out of 10 that's better than Iron Man, Avengers Endgame. And I'm here to tell you that everybody on all sides of this are lying.
So here's the thing. I'm not going to say it's better than Iron Man. They're very different movies. If you were to put me in a vacuum, though, and you were to say which one would I like to watch again, I would choose Superman over Iron Man. And it's, that could be for a factor of reasons, mostly because this is new and I've only seen it one time, whereas I've seen Iron Man dozens of times. But I don't know. It's nice. This isn't an origin story. So the whole thing with Iron Man is I don't know that we can compare origin stories to this. Another thing he's saying that like people are positively reviewing this movie to stop the movie from doing bad. This is a Superman movie. Superman's like the biggest character in fiction. This movie was going to do well, whether it was review bombed or not. So this idea that the only reason people are giving positive reviews to the movie is so that the movie does well, just sort of lacks any sort of understanding of pop culture, of cultural zeitgeist. Like it can only be said from somebody who I assume has never stepped outside. I mean, you walk into any store, any Walmart, any Target, any place, you're going to find Superman merch, whether or not the movie is there's a current Superman movie out. I mean, within the last 5 years, we've had 2 Superman TV shows. This movie was going to make $1 billion either way. And this idea, again, that it's because it was review bombed is really kind of dumb. Like, I don't want to question this man's intelligence, but it's just a dumb take. That's why when you have rage bait like this, it's one of 2 things can happen. Either these people are intentionally lying or they're really stupid. I tend to think it's the former rather than the latter.
Once again, it isn't rage bait. If you watch this movie, try to make out the structure. Who greenlit this script? Is there a beginning, a middle, or even an end? Or are we just dropped into the worst movie ever created by man?
So this is where my first issue is going to lie. What do you mean, is there a beginning, a middle, and end? This movie follows a pretty normal story structure. Yes, we start in the middle of an action, right? We start in the middle of an action set piece, but tons of movies start this way, where you're just dropped in the middle of action. Star Wars famously starts this way. You are dropped in the middle of a battle, right? One of the things, though, that this movie does, again, much like Star Wars, is you get an opening title crawl where James Gunn says, hey, this is sort of what's going on in universe right now with this character. We're going to drop you in the middle of this. Now, would I have preferred to have seen the actions in the title crawl? Yes. But the title crawl does what is setting up here. So the beginning of the movie, you have Superman. We're probably just going to do spoilers. I don't know. If I start talking spoilers, I'll send you guys to a later part of the video. But in the beginning of the movie, you are dropped into Superman dealing with sort of an international crisis that he caused. And he's dealing with this. The middle of the movie has a very solid rising action and a very solid falling action. So I don't understand what he means with, does this movie have a beginning, middle, and end? Again, this is where I don't think he watched the movie. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that this guy actually watched the movie, because how can you watch the movie and say that? You can be upset about a lot of things in this movie if you want to be, but to claim that it doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end is really stupid. So again, he's either lying or he's dumb.
That's exactly what it is, because from all the trailers, I thought that this movie was going to be terrible, but still a fun time. And there was one fun part that could be excused, which was Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, which I actually found kind of funny.
Is it telling on himself that the only character he found funny was the movie's version of an incel? Was like, I find the asshole character funny. The guy everybody doesn't like is, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too into things here.
But other than like 5 seconds of footage where Superman and Lois were acting like they were in an actual Superman movie, this was a piece of crap. And I can't really stress it enough. There's pieces of crap, and then there's this movie. It's really easy for a movie to be bad. Superman, on the other hand, is like the Flash times 1,000. I can't really put it into words if you haven't watched this movie.
I mean, he's just saying a whole lot of nothing right now. Superman and Lois are not acting like they're in a Superman movie. What does that mean? What does it mean to be acting like you're Superman movies have differed, you know, but like Lois Lane and Superman in this movie are very akin to how Lois Lane and Superman interacted and engaged with each other in the Christopher Reeve movie. So I don't understand what he's looking for in the way that they need to be acting. I think he's just saying things to pad video length at this point.
There's no structure, there's no writing, there's no acting. The CGI is terrible. There's so much comedy, it'll make you want to pluck your own eyes out. Every time Superman even comes close to doing anything that's anyway good, he just gets knocked over by a dog.
So this now becomes the part where it's very clear rage bait. I know he said multiple times this isn't rage bait. This is rage bait. What do you mean there's no writing? What do you mean? This movie is actually written pretty well. I'm not going to say it's a cinematic masterpiece, but like, again, character motivations all make sense. The way characters behave makes sense. The way characters respond to action makes sense. It follows a very good story structure. It follows a very hero's journey story structure, almost as if you were set into the hero's journey like halfway through. And what's really good is it's really good about, I've always liked the way Matt Parker and Trey Stone described how story beats should go.
We've found out this really simple rule that maybe you guys have all heard before, but it took us a long time to learn it. But we can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed, basically. you got something pretty boring. What should happen between every beat that you've written down is either the word therefore or but.
And this movie is really good about not having and then. It's really good about having because. So because Superman shows up on Earth, that's why Lex Luthor goes crazy and decides that he wants to kill Superman. Because Lex Luthor decides he wants to kill Superman, he goes through all of these plot points to make that happen. Because I actually find that this movie is really good at the because and doesn't just have things happening and then, like, they don't just have things happen. So I don't understand his critique here that, like, oh, well, it's like too much comedy. It's a Superman movie. So many people, and this guy looks young, so I just feel like so many people's brains have been absolutely rotted from the inside out by the Snyderverse. Rotted from the inside out. Superman's funny. Superman in the comics is funny. He's a funny dude. Things that happen to him are funny. One of the most iconic Superman moments is him shaving his own beard or his own facial hair with his heat vision through a mirror. That's a funny bit. Superman is comedic. He's lighthearted. He's literally supposed to be DC's flip to Batman. You have Batman, who's the dark, brooding hero, and then you have Superman, who's the fun, happy hero. So I don't understand his critique here that there's too much comedy in a Superman movie. That's just really stupid. And then he's talking about acting, like the acting is pretty good. Nicholas Hoult especially steals the show for me in this. His Lex Luthor is great. I think he's having so much fun with it. I love watching him on screen. David Cornsweet is really good as Superman. Rachel Brosnahan is a fantastic Lois Lane. Honestly, I don't think there was a weak link acting wise in this whole movie. I think all of the actors did really well. So I'm a little, I don't know what he's talking about here. I know what he's talking about. He's just rage baiting. He's just mad that the movie is woke, and he's using this as an excuse. And we're going to get into what he really feels, but he's trying to paint out like, well, I'm actually here to be a movie critic, and this is my critiques of the movie, but he doesn't explain it. If you're going to critique acting, critique acting. I will critique acting up and down. I'm super harsh, especially on like child actors. I was spoiled by E.T., so like I can get really frustrated with bad child acting. But like the acting in this movie is pretty good. I don't know what he's talking about.
Lex Luthor is a stupid analogy for Donald Trump and racism.
Lex Luthor is a lot of things in this movie. At no point did I feel he was an analogy for Donald Trump. At no point whatsoever. That is the worst critique so far. That right there is why I think this guy might be media illiterate. Because you could maybe make an argument that Lex Luthor is a parody of like a really exaggerated Elon Musk. You can see this with characters like the engineer, who he's like, enhanced her human features using like nanite technology. But even that is so thin. Lex Luthor in this movie is like the most comic accurate Lex Luthor I think we've ever had. So I'm not sure, and that is not an analogy for Donald Trump. So I'm not sure where he got this one from. I don't know if he's ever watched Donald Trump speak. And this again makes me go, you've never seen this movie. You couldn't have watched it. I'm more convinced now than ever that you did not watch this movie.
There's lesbian girl bosses running around.
Guys, who is the lesbian in this movie? I'm so serious right now. Is he saying Lois Lane, who's in a heterosexual relationship with Superman? Is that the lesbian girl boss? Is it the engineer? Because we don't know anything about the engineer's like sexual preferences. Is it Hawk Girl? Is just because she has short hair and is kind of, like muscular, she's a lesbian? Who's the lesbian in Superman? Am I missing something? I usually go to the bathroom during movies. I didn't go to the bathroom during this movie. So am I missing Was I missing a lesbian scene? Were my eyes closed during a like lesbian scene? What is going on? You did not watch this movie, sir. And this is my problem with this anti-woke, fake intellectual bullshit. You didn't even watch the movie.
Emphasis on Gen Z and TikTok for some reason.
Were any of was even the actor that plays Jimmy Olsen, is he Gen Z? What TikTok? What is he talking about? There wasn't even TikTok in this. What is going on? You didn't I hate to just beat a dead horse, dude, but you didn't watch the movie. What do you mean? What do you Where's the TikTok? Where's the I need you to take all of that superhero shit behind you and just put it away, homie. I think it's time. I don't tell people that they need to grow up, but I think it's time. I think you cut your hair to a more sensible white collar haircut. I think you get a nice desk job, because this ain't it, Chief. This is not it. I don't know what movie you watched, but they don't reference TikTok in this movie at all. There's no what Gen Z humor is being used in this. If anything, I would say Superman's got a bit of like millennial humor coded into it more than anything. But what are you? Oh my God.
Superman is whining for the entire movie. His voice is so high pitched and the dude never stops screaming and being autistic.
Oh, I get it. I get it now. You're just one of those people. First of all, his voice is high. That's the critique. That's Superman has a high voice. That's your whole. But also, like, Superman is an emotional character. I don't know if people watching Superman movies recognize how in the comics Superman is not always emotionally together. He's human. He was raised by two human parents. This idea that he needs to be this emotionless god is a Zack Snyder invention. Superman is as human. Superman is more human. There are tons of comics that analyze how Superman is more human than Batman. How this alien embodies all that is humanity, and that includes emotion. So yes, he gets angry, he gets upset, he gets frustrated. That's normal. That's what happens to people. We don't all like, and him expressing those emotions leads to you calling him autistic. It's clownery. It's truly, there is no biting commentary here. You're just shooting for sound bites to get people like me, probably admittedly, to respond to this. But like, I wish I could end these little segments about talking about this guy with more than just utter confusion, but it is utter confusion.
I don't know how I can say it anymore. This movie is the most thing to ever exist.
I feel like I don't need to say anything else. I think he kind of made my point in this part, that it is just about rage bait. I think you made my point. Thanks, guy.
Genuinely, I've watched a lot of movies from many different countries, time periods. I'm not bragging here. I'm just saying that I know that Superman is probably in the top 3 worst of all of them. Forget every crappy B movie ever made. Forget, like, I don't know, Plan 9 from Outer Space being the worst movie ever made. This is it right here.
Yep, this is the worst, top 3 worst movies of all time. Let's just like go through a list of movies that are objectively worse than Superman, because there's so many of them. The Master of Disguise, worse than Superman. Baby Geniuses, worse than Superman. Baby Geniuses 2, worse than Superman. Baby Geniuses 3, worse than Baby Geniuses 4. I don't know if I hope this is where you guys learn that there are a lot of Baby Genius sequels. All of these objectively worse than Superman. Objectively. But no, guys, Superman, worst movie of all time. There's never been anything worse than James Gunn's Superman movie. This guy is a joke of a reviewer. Am I going to be doing more media stuff on my channel? Like, this is so embarrassing.
You thought Marvel humor was bad. Well, they have so much of it that you want to die.
Now, I'm a fan of Marvel humor. I actually don't mind quips. I've just sort of taken quippy Marvel to be sort of what Marvel is. Like Marvel is quippy. It's Iron Man style quips. And I actually don't mind that because it's what I go into the movie expecting. This movie was not that. This movie was not quippy. And the only character that like I would say was a quippy character is the one he claimed to like, which was Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner. I would say that is the only character that I feel like was quipping. Was this movie funny? Yes, but the jokes were sort of informed by character. Like, I don't understand. I do understand. I understand. I understand that you don't know what you're talking about. I understand that you have never watched a movie before. But yeah, the humor in this movie is actually good, actually. And a lot of the humor comes from crypto, and it works surprisingly well if you've ever owned a dog or been near dogs for more than 5 minutes.
It literally has some of the worst CGI in a new movie, and I'm not alone on this. Just look at the reviews.
CGI is fine. It's fine. It can be a little rubbery. I mean, we're not at the point of CGI yet where it's not going to be a little rubbery. But CGI is fine. Actually, the CGI on Crypto looks great. There were times where I was like, is this the real dog or the CG dog? CGI is fine. It's absolutely fine. It's better than I think most Marvel movies have been lately. And in some places it looks phenomenal. And I mean, you've got to really respect a superhero movie that puts things in like a bright, sunny, we get CGI in a bright, sunny, daylit scene. Like you don't get that a lot because it's easier to hide CGI mistakes when it's dark or when it's overcast or when it's raining. So, it was really nice to be able to watch. And the way James Gunn choreographs the fight scenes made it like really like he didn't choreograph the fight scenes, obviously, but the way the production choreographed the fight scenes made it really hit. So I don't know, like, can you dislike the CGI? Sure. And if that's a critique you have, that's a fair critique. That's actually a critique that I'm like, okay, fine. I didn't think the CGI was that bad. You did? Fine. Fair. It has nothing to do with anything else you were talking about.
So people will jump to Rotten Tomatoes right here and try to prove me wrong, saying that, what are you saying, little bro? The movie is a success. 95 on the audience score. Everybody loves it. I looked through that audience score. It was a big load of bots that loved Crypto, the little cute dog, which was one of the most retarded parts about the entire movie. You come over to a real source like, Empire Magazine, and they have it rated 2 out of 5 stars, saying exactly what I'm saying.
So I disagree with film reviews constantly. But this idea that the reviews equate to the success of a movie is really stupid. Reviews have never equated to a movie's success. This movie is going to make $1 billion. It's going to smash the box office. It's a Superman movie. That's what's going to make it a success. It's going to kill in merch. That's what's going to make it a success. It's got nothing to do with the box office, with the reviews. That being said, it's so funny to look at reviews that come out after the movie's released and claim those are bot reviews, but not the hundreds of reviews that get dumped on Rotten Tomatoes prior to the movie's release and not calling those ones bot reviews. Those ones objectively are the bots. Those ones haven't been, like, you know what I'm saying? Those ones are the bot reviews. Those ones are the ones that came out before anyone saw the movie. And did people like Crypto? Yes. Most people like dogs, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Have you not been around a dog before? Most people like dogs. That's, just a little aside.
The movie is so messy and garbage. The end of the movie is just a CGI mess. The Guardian, 2 out of 5 stars. I don't really know what people are seeing here, but it's getting destroyed. Another news source says it's painfully mediocre. Another news source rates it 2.5 stars out of 5. I don't know what I'm missing here.
So his news sites is just Forbes and Roger Ebert, like .com. Like that's his, these news sites even homie, you can just go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at just the critic reviews. And even on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic reviews are overwhelmingly positive. What's happening here? What is going on? You're just mad. Please stop just being mad. I promise you, movies are better if you're just not mad all the time. They're so much better. But this is what happens with people who sit in their rooms angrily typing out how mad they are about fictional lesbian scenes that don't exist in a movie that they claim that they saw. Like, it's so stupid.
The movie isn't some 10 out of 10. Everybody knows it's spasticated. You just don't want to hear it.
So, I don't know anybody who's claiming the movie is a 10 out of 10. I mean, some people probably really loved it. Maybe for them it's a 10 out of 10. I wouldn't call the movie a 10 out of 10. The reviews aren't calling the movie a 10 out of 10. Even the positive reviews on IMDb are like 8s, 4s, 3.5, 7s. No one's calling this movie a 10 out of 10. You're just rage baiting. And I hate that I'm falling for the rage bait chat. I really do. But it's a little stupid, right? This anti-intellectual shit that we're here again for is really dumb because he hasn't said anything of substance about the movie. If you've noticed, he's been very quiet about actually critiquing the movie in any relevant way. All he said are buzzwords.
Now, I'd love to go in depth and show everything on screen, but I just need to tell you, for the people who haven't watched this movie,
so people like you,
how ridiculously bad this is. For the first hour of the movie, Superman is on the ground screaming and whining. That's not a joke, it's not rage bait. He literally doesn't get up off of the ground for a full 60 minutes. He's in some pocket wormhole universe, and in that universe, Lex Luthor, who is terrible and gay, by the way, for some reason.
Okay, this is how I know he hasn't seen the movie. He hasn't seen the movie. Lex Luthor has 2 on-screen girlfriends. 2 of them. 2. Now, could Lex Luthor have beards? Sure. But this movie has plainly pointed out that Lex Luthor likes women. So what do you mean Lex Luthor's gay? This is, again, rage bait. Secondly, this idea that Superman's on the ground for the first... He gets beat in the beginning of the movie. That's the whole point. Superman is a character who isn't used to losing. So the whole point of this movie is, how does Superman handle fights he can't just punch his way through? But he's not on the ground. In between him losing the fight at the start of the movie and the pocket dimension scene, there's a whole fight where he's handing a giant monster its ass. I don't think this man has seen the movie. I know I keep repeating this, but I think it's true.
He just shows up and shows Superman that everybody online trying to cancel Superman, typing angry comments, aren't actually real. They're a big load of monkeys typing at a keyboard. No, that's not a joke. I didn't make that up. James Gunn is saying that everybody hating and review bombing Superman are monkeys. So let me just do the math real quick. He's not only calling me and everybody who doesn't like the movie a monkey. If you're an Indian kid or if you're a black person who says something on Twitter against James Gunn, he thinks you're a monkey. That's really not a good look. And speaking of not...
So this is where we get, again, this is where what happens with a lot of these anti-woke, red pill, maybe he's not red pill, he doesn't look like he goes to the gym enough to be red pill, but these anti-woke intellectuals online, when they realize that what they're saying might not make sense, they'll start to virtue signal really hard. So this is a man who's dropped the R slur, who's implied that gay and lesbian people on screens are bad, but it's actually James Gunn insinuating you might be a monkey. Guys, that's just wrong. It's not a good look for James Gunn. So it's fake virtue. It's fake morals. He has sat on this video now for however long we're into it, and it's just ridiculous. It's just embarrassing at this point. So I'm not too sure why they always resort to this, but it's because, well, I do. They can't make a point. They can't make a point, and this is how they're doing it.
Good looks. David Corn Sweat looks about 400 pounds in the terribly made suit. There's kids all over this movie. Why do you ask? Because it's a James Gunn production. And we'll just pretend like this guy isn't a freak.
This is just him doing the virtue signal again. in the same breath, he says, James Gunn, implying that people might be monkeys is bad, but I'm going to talk about how David Cornsweet is fat. That's actually, guys, which he's not. He looks ripped as shit in this movie. He's like 6'3". The dude's jacked. But that's the problem, actually, is he looks fat in his suit. That's, oh boy, I can't believe...
Every single person in Metropolis is Indian and play really big parts in the movie. Like some random Indian convenience store worker or something comes up and just says something to Superman and ends up in the plot of the movie. The dude is the linchpin of the entire movie somehow. Some random taco vendor.
So this is just racism. One of the whole points of this character he's talking about, who is not a convenience store clerk, that was just racism. Not a taco vendor, just racism. The whole point is that Lex Luthor is willing to go through. He doesn't know who Superman is. He doesn't know his secret identity. He doesn't know anything. All he knows is what he can see, and what he saw was somebody interacting with Superman in a way that seemed to be that they knew each other. And the whole point is Lex Luthor is willing to use even the smallest people in Superman's life to get to him because he knows that Superman cares about all of them. It's actually a really good moment to have the emotion, not the emotional core, but to have this really emotional impact of Superman is hurt when even someone he passes by on the street gets injured, and it could possibly be because of him or something he couldn't protect. That is so quintessentially Superman that, again, I think you should take the comic book stuff off your wall, because I don't think you've ever read a comic book. I think you've looked at the pictures and that has been how you've done it. So again, this part was just racism and a complete lack of understanding in media literacy on the character of Superman to begin with.
Forget what everybody is telling you, saying that Man of Steel and every other superhero movie is dark and gritty, and this one is hopeful and full of joy. Let's cut out the politics for a second. This is a disgrace to making movies in general. People talk about how bad Deadpool and Wolverine was. It had no story. It was just cameos for the entire thing. This is the exact same and 10 times worse.
There was like one cameo in the whole movie. So a cameo, a lot of people seem to forget the difference between a cameo and a co-star, right? So when we talk Deadpool and Wolverine, Elektra, Blade, Gambit, I don't really consider those cameos because they're quintessential to the plot of the movie. Without them, the movie can't progress plot-wise. So you lose me a bit on the cameo. The only reason we're calling them cameos is because they were secret. Chris Evans being the Human Torch, cameo. He's not quintessential to the plot. He's just there. There's one cameo in this movie, and it happens later on, and I'm not going to spoil it. But there's really only one cameo in this movie. The Justice Gang, which is what Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl are calling themselves, they're not a cameo. They're literally tied into the plot of the movie. So what is the cameo? Is it just other characters in the universe? Is Jimmy Olsen the cameo? Is Cat Grant the cameo? Who's the cameo?
I'm not overreacting, and I'm not making a big deal out of it.
He was, in fact, overreacting and making a big deal out of it.
This movie doesn't have a plot. It has no story.
The plot of Superman summarized in a few sentences. Superman must overcome adversity, fighting his greatest enemy so far, Lex Luthor, and self-doubt. How does Superman be Superman when faced with self-doubt? That's the plot of the movie. You don't need anything more. That is a plot. This is a character-driven story. So the plot is revolved around the way these characters grow. And I think Superman does grow. He doesn't start the movie where he ends the movie. He starts the movie believing that the reason he's there to save humanity, and spoiler alert, so I guess if you don't want Superman spoiled for you, skip ahead 5 minutes. He doesn't start the movie as the symbol of peace because he thinks all life is valuable. He's doing it because he believes he is on this mission from his parents, that he has to protect humanity because of them. And he ends the movie realizing, no, the reason I have to protect humanity is because I'm also a human, right? I'm a human being. I'm as human as the rest of them. And the reason why I need to protect these people is not because of some ordained mission from my parents. It's because of my parents. It's Ma and Pa Kent teaching me and raising me to be a good person. That's a character-driven movie. There's absolutely a plot. I think you just turned your brain off because you saw a woman on screen and it pissed you off.
It has barely any redeeming elements. People make fun of it all the time. The American acting legend Kevin Costner, who played Superman's dad in Man of Steel. And people are actually saying that these two random spastics that they have in Superman 2025 is somehow better. Watch the movie and tell me that his two parents aren't extremely retarded. Why are they two backwards rednecks who I do not care about? The only few things
Ma and Pa Kent in this movie are the most Ma and Pa Kent I think we've ever gotten. They're just nice people. That's the point of Ma and Pa Kent. That's why we have stories like Superman Red Sun, or you get movies like Brightburn. It's what would happen if Superman wasn't raised by these two just genuinely good people. And you don't have any critique about them except that they were random people. You just complained a second ago about cameos, and now what did you want? Do you want Pa Kent to be played by fucking who? Who should Leonardo DiCaprio? Should he have played Pa Kent? We already got a cameo in who played Jor-El. So what do we need? I like that it was two random actors that I don't really think I've ever seen before. I liked that they felt like real parents. They struggled to use iPhones to call their son. They felt like actual people. Kevin Costner in Man of Steel is the worst Pa Kent we've ever had. Not because of acting wise, but written, like he's written as the worst Pa Kent. Don't save people, son. Don't save people. Don't save people. That's the lesson for Superman. This guy, and he keeps dropping the slurs because I think he's realizing he has less and less to say as he talks. At this point in the video, I think he's struggling to find something to talk about. Actually struggling.
I can think of that are semi-even passable was Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, which was funny because the dude was just a douchebag. And Lois Lane and Clark Kent weren't really that bad, except for when Clark had an autistic meltdown and his voice went so high-pitched like some little bitch. And Lois Lane goes off on a monologue about fake punk rock. Superman is sipping cocoa and crying his eyes out for the entire movie.
Superman sipping hot cocoa while relaying to Lois Lane about his day and the challenges he's faced is one of the most Superman things I've ever seen on film. Good job, James Gunn.
We see here we're going to be getting spin-offs with Mr. Terrific and Jimmy Olsen. These people weren't scene stealers like people are going to try to tell you online. Mr. Terrific was some black dude who had some ridiculously caricature accent of like a preacher down south.
You've never seen a down south preacher. You've never once. Now, do I think Mr. Terrific went a little heavy on a black accent? A little bit, yeah. Yeah, but I also, I am black and I know black people that speak exactly like this. So what the fuck are you talking about? But like a preacher down south, you've never seen a preacher. You've never been down south and seen a preacher in your life. You have no idea what you're speaking about. You're just stupid. You are dumb. You are actually the dumb one, not the people watching the movie and reviewing the movie. It's you, sir.
And also, he had more screen time than Superman.
This is like just so objectively false. I don't even know how to quantify it. Not even close. Not at all? What are you talking about? Fuck, dude.
And the same goes for Jimmy Olsen, who was acting really weird throughout the entire movie. Like, all these girls wanted to go out with him, and the dude was just acting gay. Like, he didn't want any part in it. Oh,
fellas, is it gay to be Jimmy Olsen? Is it gay to be Jimmy Olsen, fellas?
yeah, and he also had more screen time than Superman. And
No, he didn't. Not even close.
James Gunn and DC are talking here about how they're going to be making tons of new TV shows and movies, bringing together the Justice League. I don't know how anybody could be excited for this after watching Superman. The Hall of Justice was Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and Hawkgirl sitting around in a massive empty room. And you see some handicap here. Don't let anybody tell you nobody cares about Superman. Are you blind? I just showed you 20 reviews from massive news sources that all just said it was a 2 out of 5. This isn't The Dark Knight. This isn't Iron Man. It isn't even Man of Steel. And it definitely isn't Christopher Reeve in Superman the movie.
This is the most Christopher Reeve Superman movie we've gotten in a while. I don't know what he's talking about. This movie is great. And again, his 2 reviews that he pointed to were from like RogerEbert.com and Forbes. Like, I'm not going to Forbes to tell me like whether or not I should watch a fucking superhero movie, right? This is so embarrassing. Of a review of Superman, this is embarrassing. And he's still not saying anything. Like, he's not making any points that are even accurate to what we saw on screen.
This isn't even an 8 out of 10. It's like, I don't know, a 1 out of 10. This isn't a movie. It's a big load of CGI for 2 hours. And this story just came out that Ta-Nehisi Coates was going to make a black Superman movie. And it actually got cancelled because they realized that it was too woke. Nobody wants to watch some civil rights activist, black race-swapped Superman. But
this is also just racism, but okay.
at the end, as a little caveat, James Gunn will still probably make the movie in the future. Who wants that? I don't even want David Corn Sweat Superman. That was the non-woke version. The movie with the 2 warring factions and countries that definitely don't represent a certain conflict in the Middle East that's happening right now. Don't try to tell me that this movie isn't woke or not political. If you think that, go screw yourself. It is. The entire movie is about Trump, immigrants.
Again, the movie, I will agree with him. I think the conflict of the 2 warring countries in the movie are very Israel-Palestine coded. I don't mind that. Most movies are going to take from real world scenarios. This movie does not talk about immigrants at all. There are zero immigration plot points. The closest you're getting is like everyone talking about Superman being an alien. There's nothing Trump related in this movie. Again, I don't think he saw the movie. I think he watched a bunch of trailers and read the plot synopsis and has been using that to tell you what the movie is about. I have seen nothing from this man in the last 10 minutes to tell me he has watched this movie.
And as I just mentioned, other conflicts in other countries. I really don't know what I'm missing here. This movie was the biggest heap of shit I've ever watched. At first I found it funny to just laugh at it from the trailers, but watching it, it was just so bad I couldn't even believe it. How did a movie like this ever get greenlit? So much focus on comedy and random dogs banging into people and Superman whining and screaming and crying. This is...
I think if we took this video and we just removed all of his repeated phrases, we just boiled it down to original thought, this video would be 2 minutes long.
Beyond Marvel humor. I don't think anybody could excuse this. Superman is an objectively terrible movie. If you're a movie critic or you consider yourself anti-woke and you're saying that this movie is just okay, it's not even that bad, it's not even woke, I don't know what's wrong with you up here, but you need to wake up. Quality was just non-existent with James Gunn's Superman. Do not watch this movie. Do not take your kids to go see it. It's filled with a big load of unnecessary cursing and political agenda. They spent 20 minutes of the movie talking about Superman's harem. What the hell?
Yeah, a central plot point is that Superman is trying to or that Lex Luthor is trying to convince people that Superman is trying to genetically engineer babies that are like from him so he can take over the world. It's a small plot beat that they talk about for maybe 2 minutes, and it's all he could think about while seething in the movie theater drinking his Diet Dr. Pepper was, I can't believe they keep talking about his harem. They didn't. It was like 2 minutes at that, if that.
Who wrote that in the script? So Superman's original parents and Krypton just go straight out the window. Spoiler alert, sorry to break it to you, but his parents are just evil for some reason. And then his fake parents down on Earth are 2 handicaps.
I don't know that we need to watch the rest of this, because at this point, this guy has just shown that it's not actually about Superman. It's how can I be a dick to as many people as possible? To address this nonsense of a point, it is directly lifted from multiple comics that Superman's parents were not the greatest people. And sometimes Jor-El is evil. And sometimes Superman's dad sends him to Earth to conquer it. And sometimes it's about, like, this is not new. This is deep Superman lore that you would know if you had any semblance of understanding of comics, but you have a surface level. I don't think you've read a single comic book about Superman. So it's not a 180. They didn't change Superman's biological parents at all. This is a version of them that we've seen time and time again in the comics.
Peak of this movie is Superman flying into Lex Luthor's office and crying to him. And then Superman's dog knocks Lex Luthor over. That's every single scene. It ends with somebody getting knocked over, some cutaway to a Marvel humor joke, or a cute little dog that we're all supposed to find funny. And at the end of the movie, Supergirl shows up and calls Superman a bitch, and then gets knocked over by a dog. I couldn't make this any more funny even if I wanted to, and it still has all the touches of a James Gunn disaster. The vile human piece of shit, James Gunn, and he's...
Yeah, he just goes on for the rest of the movie, to say, the rest of this video, to say all the same shit. Do you understand now? Does this make sense to you guys, what I've been saying? This is anti-woke media review. This is what you get now. You don't get an analysis of character. You don't get an analysis of the story. You don't get an analysis of all that. You get somebody whining, dropping R slurs to make fun of people that might be physically or mentally disabled. And you get somebody who's upset about lesbian scenes that don't exist in a movie. This guy is ridiculous. Please put sleeves back on your t-shirt. I've been Jovan. If you guys like this kind of video, I know this is kind of different than what I've been doing. If you like something like this, let me know. I'll do more things like this. If you don't like it, well, don't watch. Thanks for watching, I guess. Bye.